Sophia had never asked Don Romano for expensive jewelry. She had never asked him to leave the life he had built. But that evening, standing at the nursery window while Emma and Lucas laughed in the backyard, she whispered something that made even the most feared man in the city fall silent. "I want our children far away from your world." The word stayed in the room long after she walked away. Most people believed Don Romano ruled his empire without hesitation. They imagined a man who never doubted himself. They never saw him sitting alone after midnight, staring at two school drawings hanging inside his private study. One was Emma's picture of their family holding hands beneath a bright yellow sun. The other was Lucas's drawing of his father wearing a black suit beside a giant castle. Above it, in uneven handwriting, were the words, "When I grow up, I want to be just like Dad." That sentence frightened Don Romano more than any enemy ever had. Sophia noticed the change before anyone else. Lucas had begun asking Victor how to recognize hidden cameras. Emma had started believing every black SUV belonged to her father. Their childhood was slowly adapting to a world that should have remained invisible. One Saturday morning, Sophia drove the children to a small town nearly 3 hours away. There were no security convoys. No bodyguards. No expensive restaurants. Just a quiet park beside a lake where children chased ducks without looking over their shoulders. Emma disappeared into a playground within seconds. Lucas joined a group of boys throwing a football. For the first time in months, Sophia watched both of them become ordinary children. She smiled. Then she realized something. Neither child had mentioned their father once. That evening, when they returned home, Don Romano was waiting in the library. "You left without security." "I know. It wasn't safe." Sophia looked directly into his eyes. "Do you know what wasn't safe?" He remained quiet. "Our daughter thinks armored cars are normal." Still silence. "Our son studies your bodyguards instead of dreaming about college." Don Romano slowly placed the glass in his hand onto the desk. "Not hard. Just enough for the room to become completely still. I've protected them." "You've protected their lives," Sophia answered softly. "But what about their future?" Those words landed harder than any bullet. Later that night, Maria quietly knocked on Sophia's bedroom door. Without saying much, she handed Sophia an old photograph. It showed Don Romano as a young boy, standing beside his mother, in front of a tiny house far away from the city. "He once had the same dream," Maria said quietly. "He wanted a normal family." Sophia stared at the photograph for a long time. She suddenly understood something Don Romano had never been able to say. He wasn't holding onto his empire because he loved power. He was afraid that leaving it would destroy everything he had built to protect them. The next morning, Lucas accidentally overheard two guards talking outside. Another family refused to cooperate. The boss handled it. Lucas never heard the rest. But that single sentence followed him all day. That afternoon he entered his father's study. "Can I ask you something?" Don Romano closed the file in front of him. "Always. Are there bad people who want our family?" Don Romano looked at his son for several seconds. "Yes." "Will there always be?" Another pause. "I don't know." Lucas lowered his head. "I don't want Emma to be scared because of me." The room became painfully quiet. That was the first time Don Romano realized his son was no longer thinking like a child. He was already carrying the weight of the family. That night, Sophia found Don Romano standing alone on the balcony. The city light stretched endlessly beneath them. "You were right," he finally said. Sophia waited. "I spent years making sure nobody could touch this family." His voice was calm. "But I never asked whether this life was touching them first." Sophia stepped beside him. "I don't want them to hate you." "They won't." "I don't want them to become you." That sentence lingered between them. Don Romano didn't argue. He simply nodded once. The following week brought a surprise that confused everyone inside the mansion. Lucas and Emma were informed they would begin attending a boarding academy in another state the following semester. No one understood why. Victor received new travel assignments. Maria helped pack their belongings. Emma complained that she would miss the family dog. Lucas asked whether he could come home every holiday. Only Sophia knew how difficult that decision had been. The night before the children left, Don Romano visited each bedroom after everyone had fallen asleep. He tucked Emma's blanket around her shoulders. He stood quietly beside Lucas for several minutes. No speeches. No promises. Just a father trying to memorize the faces of the two people he loved most. Before sunrise, Sophia found a sealed envelope resting on the kitchen table. Inside was a handwritten note. If they ever have to choose between my name and their happiness, I hope they never choose my name. There was no signature. There didn't need to be. As the family car disappeared beyond the front gates the next morning, Don Romano remained standing alone in the driveway. He did not wave. He simply watched until the car became too small to see. Because sometimes the greatest sacrifice a father can make is not protecting his children by keeping them close, but by having the strength to let them grow somewhere his shadow cannot reach. Yet neither Sophia nor Don Romano noticed the unfamiliar black sedan parked quietly across the road. Inside, someone raised a camera. One photograph. Then another. Someone had already discovered where the Romano children were going. If you want to know who has started watching the Romano family, follow the next chapter of their story.